Welcome back to another Blender Nodevember visual scripting video in the shader library with Serpens and Darkfall. In the last video, we created a function out of our add shader node BSDF glass setup. And in this video, we're going to follow suit and do another function, only we're going to set it up so that we can add any type of node that we want just by providing the material name and the node type as the input. We'll also allow for set data to be able to set the location of the node, and we'll output the node blend data. Let's go ahead and get started. So we kept this up from the previous video so that we could use it as a template, and all we really need from this is to copy over these 5 nodes. So highlight them and hit Control C. Then we're going to create another graph. We'll create another graph, and then we're going to add a name to it. We'll say add material node. Paste it in, and we can hit the period key on our numpad. And we're going to do a Shift A, and like we did last time, we'll add in the function. Connect up the execute socket. Now this time, we want to be able to make any kind of node that we want. So we're going to make a material name for the first parameter to define our material. We'll also define the node type. And we can set the location. Then we'll want to return the node blend data as well. So Shift A in your add menu, and under functions, we have function return. Connect in that blend data. Here, and then connect it in. Now that we've got this function created, we can go back to our shader library. And at the last part here, after our class 4 BSDF, we can go to Shift A, functions, and run function. Let's bring in our add material node. We're using the diamond material for this one. And the node type, we're going to add in 2 add shader nodes and a mix shader node as well. So for the add shader node, that name is called shader node add shader. We can find that in the shader graph. I'm going to Shift A and then under shaders, add shader. And make sure you have your Python tooltips enabled. And you can see right there it says shader node add shader. We can set the location for this one. We want it to be nearby these 2 glass BSDFs. And I've already found that the good location is negative 400 by 300. Let's go to our diamond setup, and then we will compile, Shift R, and let's verify that it adds in our node. There we go. It's a good location. So we'll duplicate this again. And before we continue on, we need to connect in our function return. And we'll add in a couple more variables as well. Let's do an add 1, change the type to blend data, and add 2, change the type to blend data. Let's go ahead and add in our mix as well. Set up our setter, give it our node. And then for this next add shader, since we're using the same node, we're just going to change the location. This one's going to be a negative 200. By 200. Add in our setter. shift R to compile, and let's check and see. It's looking good. Now we just need our mix shader as well. So we can actually duplicate both of these over. Change the variable to mix. The mix shader, which is shader node mix shader. So all you have to do is change this part here. Set the location for this one to be 50 by 200. See how that looks. Compile and build. Yeah, I think that'll look really nice. This is why we use functions, to make the graph nice and simple, and we don't have to repeat everything that we did here. Now in the next video, I'm going to teach you how to connect in all of your links, and then we'll have the first shader built. And from then on, you should be able to have all the resources you need to continue building shader libraries. We'll catch you in the next one.